Okay, how can I sell more cars? Right? Okay, so let's just start throwing stuff out there. How can we sell more cars?
Stay in contact with BDC.
Stay in contact with BDC.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How else?
Document all touches, contacts, or whatever you want to call them.
Ups.
Well, an up doesn't necessarily, I mean, it could be phone, it could be referral, so I just customer touch or customer contacts.
Okay.
Follow-ups.
Yep. Follow up. That's a big one.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we'll do 3 today.
Keep CRM up to date. Because if you're doing that effectively, that's a natural consequence.
Well, that's another training too. All right. What else?
Own your weaknesses and improve upon them.
Self-development. That'll be another training.
Prospecting.
Uh-huh.
Begging.
Begging.
Kidding.
I think prospecting is a better word to describe what we
Yeah,
do.
those should be unrelated.
So this is actually a form of what we're going to talk about is prospecting. And what we're going to talk about specifically is the service drive.
Cool.
Okay, so we'll dig into each one of these in later trainings. So you guys might as well write those down and start writing down any specifics that you have, any questions that you have as they pertain to those topics. Okay, but what we're going to do today to start with is we're going to talk about the service department. Okay. So Bailey, you've been doing the service department. So what happens back there typically in the morning?
In the mornings, typically a lot of people are doing very quick drop-offs between 8 and 8:15, so you have a very small amount of time to say what you need to say and get them interested, or give them your card, and if they are interested, send them on their way and make sure you leave a good first impression to the sales staff.
Absolutely. And you have a sheet that gets printed out that has everybody's name on them, so that you can put them in the CRM.
Exactly.
And put a note in there that you did say hi and thank
Normally
them for their
Steve
business.
will print one out for me before I get there. If not, I'll just remind him politely to print one out for me so I can easily reference who I talked to, and I usually mark who I talked to, who I didn't get to talk to, no shows, possible people I could talk more into because of absolutely.
One of those? Thank you.
Okay, perfect. So, so the first thing I think that you need to understand in the service department is typically, time not being a factor for how long they're going to be here and how long they have before they have to go. If we take that completely out of the equation, you kind of have 3 sets of customers out there. So the first one is an oil change. Okay, so that person is coming in, they're going to spend their $50, $75, $100, whatever that number is, on an oil change. And maybe they bought it in the last year or 2, because when you get to the 30,000 mile service, it's a bigger service. When you get to 60, it's a bigger service. 40 is a bigger service. So these are services where the customer's going to have to actually open their wallet and start spending money, right? So those people are going to be more receptive to our message, right, than maybe just that person paying for a $50 oil change. So the second person that we have,
Wrinkles.
those 2. Well, yeah, those 2. I would put those more up here.
Because that money is not coming out of their pocket.
Okay, so the second person is one more on an intermediate service. Okay, so this person's gonna spend, you know, $2 to $4.50, let's say, right? It's not a big service. We'll say this is 50 to 150. Right, that's what they're gonna spend, okay? So the intermediate service is gonna be more like 250 to 450. Does that make sense so far?
Mhm.
Okay, so the third person is gonna be a major service,
500 and up.
or a intermediate repair. Okay, so this.
And this would also include probably somebody where they came in for one thing and 2 or 3 other things were discovered.
Sure.
That's going to boost into that third category.
Absolutely.
And that happens quite often.
It happens all the time.
Always,
because
yeah, every
so,
day.
so you guys know, service has a process that's similar to ours, where they come in, okay, we're going to do an oil change, we'll also do a multi-point inspection, make sure that everything is wearing properly, and if it's not, it gives the customer a chance to be proactive about maintaining their vehicle and maybe fending off a more expensive repair later on down the road. Right, so they're always looking for things that are wrong with your car. Now, customers sometimes don't like that, right, because they feel like they're being upsold.
Well, yeah.
But in reality, what's happening is the service department is trying to be proactive with them and help them fend off a possible greater repair bill later on down the road. You guys know sometimes if component A breaks, it will cause component B to break.
Mm-hmm.
You heard that, right?
Right.
So if we address component A now, then it would make it so that we don't have to worry about component B later on down the road. So in reality, it's a benefit to the customer, but sometimes it's not perceived as a benefit because we're going deeper into our wallet.
Like your front ball bearing's gonna mess up the struts, and struts gonna mess up the whole shop. It happened to me, cost me $1,500.
Sure, absolutely.
Preventive, preventive medicine.
But see, when you start hearing that noise out of your bearings,
Right.
because you can hear it when your bearings are going bad.
Then it gets bad, it's getting more bad, you know, with the strut and the shock, and you know, it keeps on going.
And then the whole thing goes south, right? I mean, if you could blow out an axle maybe. Okay, and then we're going to say 3B is going to be a major repair. Okay, so typically the 3B, when service is going to go tell that customer, hey, your transmission's starting to go bad and it's going to be $3,500 to repair it, do you want us to repair it or would you rather trade that car in? Right, so now it becomes them being proactive, trying to get us help. That what we can do is we can actually find some success here. And number 3 we're going to say is that 500 to 850 range repairs, and this is going to be 1,000 plus. Okay, so at this stage, they're bringing them to us, right? But at this stage, not necessarily. Okay, my car's 3 years old, I've got 40,000 miles on it, I'm paying my $650 maintenance on that, which does this much stuff for me, so I can see the benefit of having that done. I'm going to keep this car for another 40,000 miles, right? So it makes sense for me to pay that $650. So that's okay. Now, if we go out and we say hi to this person, and what's the word track that I taught you?
We're having a special promotion for our service customers this month where you can trade in your current vehicle, get into something newer for probably not much more than what you're paying right now. Is that something you may be interested in talking about?
If we could do that, is that something you'd want to talk about? So I'm going to put talk about up here. And I want you guys to all write that down. Okay, at the end of whatever your phrasing is, and it doesn't necessarily have to be just in the service department, but it could be out front, if I could do this, is that something that you would want to talk about? And all you're doing is you're just opening a door, right? This is the difference between selling and consulting. and we'll go into that more in detail in a different video, but consulting is opening a door and saying, hey, this is what's behind door number 1. Is that something that you'd want to talk about, right? Selling is opening that door and saying, hey, you need to go in there. Here, just go in there. Just don't even worry about it. Just go in there. Yeah,
That's
just
the
go.
badger.
That's the badger, right? So consulting, what we want to do is we want to create opportunity. If this could happen, and I don't know if it can or not, but if it could, is that something you'd want to talk about? And they'll tell you yes or no, right? Nice and easy. So let's, we're going to put that phrase up. Fix that. We're going to put that phrase up here, or that word track.
We're having a special promotion right now for our service customers where, wait.
No, you got it.
Yeah, we're having a special promotion right now for our service customers where you can trade in your current vehicle, get into something newer with newer technology for probably not much more than what you're paying right now. Is that something you may be interested in talking about?
So I have an example.
We're having a special promotion.
For our service customers where you
Where?
can trade in your current vehicle,
You can
get into something new,
I like the way you said
Or you can-
for our service customers.
yeah,
move
Where you-
Singles in out.
move into something new.
a new
Car
car
with newer technology. That's the one that you put in my verbiage at least. New
Let's
technology.
make that into.
For probably,
move into a new car with newer technology
for probably not much more than what you're paying right now.
for right around
For right around.
So my
We're
exact
having a-
words
hold on.
to that.
We're having a special promotion where you can move into a new car with newer technology for right around the same payment.
You pay now.
You are currently paying, period, is that something you
What did you talk about?
would
Like.
want to talk about? Okay, so we're having a special promotion where you can move into a new car with newer technology for right around the same payment you're currently paying. Is that something that you'd want to talk about? So that's your catalyst statement, right? That's taking somebody from, getting ready to maybe pay that big bill to, we don't necessarily have to worry about that bill, move into something new, keep pretty close to the same payment, you start over fresh with your new car warranty, so you don't have to worry about any of that stuff, and you're paying about the same as what you're paying right this very second. Now, what I've found is 30 to 50% of the people that you talk to will say yes. So now it's just a numbers game. Now it's just a numbers game.
So the people with the repair orders on the cars, right,
Mhm.
they're gonna pay a lot of money.
Right.
So this is exactly what I told that T1 lady, that we're not selling you a car, we're selling you peace of mind on the road.
Sure.
And that was the selling point right there. So basically, you can go that way as a consultant, not selling a car, but selling you peace of mind. So you don't have to keep coming back and get fixed and keep spending your money.
Right. And I would even stay away from the word selling,
Exactly, no, you
You
can
know.
put in your own words, so I'm just giving an example.
Yeah, I mean, if you say, I'm not selling you a car, what you are buying is peace of mind. That has a lot of impact. Now, you can even take that one step further, and again, there's another video, by using the word because. So, I'm not trying to sell you a car. what you are buying is peace of mind, because A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Because you told me that this car has too many miles on it, and maybe you don't trust it so much anymore, right? So that's where that word "because" becomes a catalyst as well. All right, so this all makes sense, right?
Mhm.
And that's for if you're out and standing in the service drive and they just finished their transaction with the service manager, they're either going to catch a ride back to work or home or whatever, or they're going to go and hang out in our waiting area, right? And if we can just put this across, if we put this across to 10, for 10 to 20 people a day, we will sell 2 cars a day just out of the service drive. And we don't have a huge service drive.
You just brought up the point I was about to ask. Where are you located physically when you are using this approach? Are you
Right
in
next-
the midst
No,
of the desks?
absolutely not.
Are you
because
out toward the showroom?
The last thing I want to be doing is
Right.
getting in the way of the service drive's work. And so for me, I stick right between Steve and Nick. And that puts me in like the perfect position to kind of be on Steve's side of the desk, so that they know I'm not just like standing around doing nothing. I'm
Yeah.
there to consult and talk, and as he's sitting there typing on his computer, I'm making conversation and kind of building that trust and that rapport as I'm talking to them and ask, how's your morning going? And then, you know, oh, what are you getting done today? Oh, you're just getting oil change? That's great.
So
Did you
your
just get the-"
proximity to both of those guys is not a distraction for, obviously I think you'd have to keep your voice kind of toned down because
Absolutely.
they are still interacting with people within 4 feet of you.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to get a grip on,
Well, you don't want to be the loudest guy in the room.
well, no, right.
You know, so yeah, I mean, you're going to act appropriately. So
Mhm.
if they just get finished with somebody and they're getting ready to move to getting a ride home or move into the waiting area, you say, hey, quick question before you go. We're doing a service special right now for our service customers where you can trade in your car, move into a new car with newer technology, and keep pretty close to the same payment that you have right now. Is that something that you want to talk about?
I say
I would
that
go
at the
ahead.
very end
Mhm.
of my saying goodbye, because the minute that you bring it up when you first see them, then you're going to be stuck with them, and they're going to be like, wow, the salesman's just looking at me like the whole time during Steve's doing his RO, and it's just awkward. And
So-
it's just
so
I have a
That's
different
what I'm
approach. I have a
anticipating,
different
yeah.
approach on that one. So as you
Where
said,
to
stay
locate
around,
myself physically. That's
stay
my-
around and listen what's happening with the service. If you hear those words, oh, it is too much, you know, it is expensive, oh shit, and you see the expressions, let them do their thing, just get the information out of them, then put them on the table.
So-
Hey, have a seat, can I get you coffee, water, something, sit down on the couch, and, oh, then you start, this is how I would do.
So regardless of the conversation, you have to wait until they're done
Right.
with their
Just
transaction.
listen.
Right, otherwise we're not welcoming the service. We're
Exactly.
alienating ourselves from the guys that are,
Correct.
yeah.
Take them on
So
the
you
side,
let
yeah.
them finish their transaction, and then you can, and you're probably already talking to them a little bit anyway, you know, I mean, while Steve's down there punching away at the keyboard, you know, you're like,
Mhm.
hey, how are you know, what kind of car do you have, blah, 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 whatever. But once that transaction is done, then you can move to this. And the point is to get this question out as many times as you possibly can,
To everyone you talk to.
to everyone you talk to.
Yeah. Even if you know they're going to say no and they just bought a car 2 years ago, they may know someone who has a RO that's $1,000 and they could be interested in doing this. So
Exactly.
that's why I just say it to everyone.
I would suggest
so-
wait
Okay.
once they're done completely with service, then have them
Yeah,
sit down and just
exactly.
start conversation all over again.
Did you guys all write this down?
Yes.
I mean, I have it typed up that you gave me, so I'm
Very
good.
Perfect. Okay, so let's talk about somebody who's already in service, they've already been signed up and everything, they're sitting in the waiting area, and, you know, they have a wait of a couple hours, right? How do we approach that person?
Are you being helped, sir? Yes,
I
I'm in
usually
service.
offer
Oh, what you
them
got there?
coffee or water.
What I
Say
would ask
hello, good morning.
first is, do you have a car in service? Bobby.
Or are you being helped?
No.
Oh, yes, I am. Oh, my car's in service.
That's the
Okay,
problem.
we'll come
That's
across
the
it.
problem, is if you say, have you already been helped? Yes, I have.
Done. Yes, no question.
That conversation's over.
I keep it going though, I mean, I use this, I mean,
Now you're a salesman.
right, I am a salesman,
Right.
but I'm not a badger.
But see, the point is so that you're coming across not salesy. So when you approach me, you say, hey, do you have a car in service? Yes, I do. So what is that?
What do you haven't done today?
It's kind of an invitation to continue that conversation, right? So the difference between the two approaches, have you been helped yet? Yes, I have. That conversation's over. Where on the other hand, if you say, do you have a car in service? Yes, I do. Oh, great. What is it? Right? It's a 16 Passat. Okay, are we going to go very deep on a 16 car with our offer? Probably not, because it's going to be, if to try and keep the same payment or close to it, even within $50, is probably going to be more difficult. So you might find out, okay, great, did you buy it here? Yes. Okay, do you remember how much you put down? Are you financing it? Yes. Okay, cool, what's your payment? It's $580 a month. We might have something to talk about. If their payment's $199 and they bought it a year ago and they didn't put any money down, probably going to be pretty difficult, right? So gauge who you're talking to and who we're going to try and make an offer to. So if they say it's a 14 or lower, 13, 12, 11, 10, whatever, okay, great. How do you like that car? I love it. They say, I love it. Or they say, I hate it, or whatever. Great, well, hey, we have a special promotion running right now for our service customers where you can trade in your old car, move into a new car with newer technology, and keep right about the same payment as what you have right now. Is that something you want to talk about? Yes or no? Right? But what this does for you, this is a way to create incremental sales that, through the service department, that were not coming in to buy a car. So now you're actually growing business as opposed to, you know, taking up, doing your regular follow-up, prospecting, you know, all the other things that go along with it. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Any questions about this?
No.
Okay, good.
I'm kind of glad we went over that though, because to be honest, I didn't know how to really approach them in the lobby, so.
Well, and the nice thing about it is if you get here at noon and somebody's sitting out there at 2 o'clock, then you can still, you know, hey, how are you today? Great. Do you have a car in service? I do. Cool, what is it? It's a 14 Jetta. Okay, cool. How do you like that car? I love that car. Cool, what are you getting done? Just doing the regular maintenance, 30,000 miles. Oh, okay. Where did you buy it here? Yes, I did. Very cool. Well, hey, check it out. We have a current promotion going right now where you can trade in your current car, move into a new car with newer technologies, and keep pretty close to the same payment that you have right now. Is that something you want to talk about? Sure. And I mean, it is so easy. But then, especially on an afternoon where there's not a whole lot of traffic happening, you just created your own traffic. You created your own opportunity. That's one way that we can sell more cars.